Speaker, in that case, could I get a ruling on 48-4 then?
Just so that we have it. 48-4, offensive and insulting language. What is the offensive and what is the insulting language you're referring to? I'm sorry? I'm going to sit and I'm going to ask you to identify the insulting and the offensive words.
Mr. Speaker, I have raised a standing order. You can support it or not.
Member, can I remind you that when a member raises a point of order and a standing order, you have to be prepared to support your interjection, both in form and substance. To simply stand and see, misguidedly rely on a standing order, which you are unable, I asked you specifically to identify the offensive words and the insulting language. You seem incapable, unable, or unwilling to do so. That is unhelpful. It is unhelpful. It results in exactly what I'm doing here, wasting time. Members have a duty and a responsibility. When you make an interjection, you rely on a standing order, be prepared to advocate your cause. Don't simply say, rely on the standing order, and when your reliance on the standing order is interrogated, you seek to hide behind the fig leaf. Well, Mr. Speaker, that's your responsibility. No, quite frankly, yes, it is. But it's also your responsibility to justify why you are making an unwarranted interjection. This is thoroughly unhelpful. Member, continue, please. Member was admonished for staying relevant. So stay relevant, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the lands that we are here to discuss is in the Coral Road, El Dorado, in the ward of Tagarigua and the county of St. George. And, Mr. Speaker, in respect to this development, in this same county, there was a wastewater facility that was being built to assist this area, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is a Bonnier wastewater plant that started under that administration to assist this area back in 2018 at a cost of $3.6 million,
Mr. Speaker, a point of order, 48-1.
Unless that is necessary to give context, I'm going to ask you to move on to the simple issue which is before the House.
I'll give the context, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the context is that this wastewater plant was being built by that administration to assist this same development that we are discussing about.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, clearly, 48-1. Mr. Speaker, the Bonnier wastewater project is far from the coral land that we are debating in this motion. So clearly, the minister does not know where Bonnier is located, as opposed to the order that we are debating here today. It is far removed from the project.
That is why I asked the member that unless he could lend a measure of contextual relevance to the references to that, I took his word, just as I've taken your word many times in the past, about contextual relevance. Minister, I ask you again, are you able to lend contextual relevance to the references?
Mr. Speaker, the development that is in question here today is 100 units, 100 townhouses in the Cora area. Yes. The wastewater plant is to assist this area, Mr. Speaker. And I'm trying to put it in context of the infrastructure that took place to assist this area, Mr. Speaker. And I know my friend from Aruka Lopido don't want me to talk about that wastewater that assisted this area. Mr. Speaker, I just put it in context. Because the member for Trinidad Maloney raised certain prices of these units. Yes. She raised certain prices, and I'm trying to show you the cost that took place in the pricing of these units, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I raised this matter about the wastewater plant that will assist the 100 townhouses, Mr. Speaker. There's a cost-benefit, Mr. Speaker, that is relevant in addressing and answering my friend from Trinidad Maloney. And the reason why I raised this, and they don't want me to talk about it, that this plant started under their watch at $3.6 million. At the end of 2023, Mr. Speaker, you know where that plant went to? $34 million. So when I mentioned earlier about the corruption underneath them, Mr. Speaker, this is what I'm talking about, because they cannot justify why that plant could move from 3.6 and in 4 years it moves to $34 million.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, please. 48-1. What does this have to do with the bill?
It is the member who opened the pricing And the member is simply justifying why the price increases had to take place. That's all.
Mr. Speaker, the member for Trinity Maloney, this project started back with trying to acquire the lands underneath them from HCL back in 2018, 2019, and you would have heard from my colleague and the Minister of Legal Affairs the history of it, Mr. Speaker. What they were trying to do, Mr. Speaker, without having the lands properly vested into HDC from HCL, at the time, these townhouses were not completed up to the general election, but they were allocating those townhouses to their friends and family, Mr. Speaker, and the townhouses were not built, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, point of order 48-6, please. Thank you. Hey, shut up.
I think that interjection only needs to be stated to be dismissed.
They don't want to hear, no. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear about that development in Cora, Mr. Speaker. That they were allocated.
I'm absolutely certain that in 48-6, that in the past, when those on this side have said friends, family, and
Please have a
financiers.
seat, have a seat. Please. San Fernando East, I am formally warning you pursuant to Standing Order 55. Consider yourself formally warned. Read Standing Order 55, reconsider what you just said, and I'm formally putting you on notice pursuant to Standing Order 55. I'm formally putting you on notice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that last administration used to do with HEC houses, that they never used to vest properly the lands that were owned, for example, like Home Construction Limited, to HEC. And what that allowed them to do, Mr. Speaker, was to be able, again, to give their friends, family, and financiers homes on something called lease to own or rent to own, Mr. Speaker. What used to happen with a rent to own or lease to own is that they would have given their friends and family and favoritism of people getting homes in these developments, Mr. Speaker, at peppercorn rental rates, Mr. Speaker, with the notion at some point in time they would change that rent or lease to own to mortgages, Mr. Speaker. And that is why we have so many problems at HEC, and we have a $1 billion rent receivable that is uncollectible at HEC, Mr. Speaker. And that is why HEC new board and management is trying to restructure HEC, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you about Cora that is here this afternoon. And I'll give you the history of what the development is about. Development was and is designed for 100 townhouse units, and it was completed underneath this administration, Mr. Speaker, underneath the leadership of the Honourable Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, member for Siparia. Mr. Speaker, the member talked, and my colleague from Legal Affairs, the Honourable Saddam Hussein, when he opened the debate, he read from a cabinet note about affordable houses, Mr. Speaker, affordable homes. The member for Trinity Maloney somehow feels that she's still the Minister of Housing. So, from my information, she had called down to HEC to get information on this debate, Mr. Speaker. She called certain individuals to try and get information on this. And the persons that she called, Mr. Speaker, gave her wrong information, Mr. Speaker. They gave her wrong information. Now, so the member raised some prices that, since underneath our watch, the Cora townhouses is no longer affordable, and the prices, she called some prices at 1.5 for the inner units and 1.7 for the outer units. Isn't that what you said, member Trinity Maloney? I want to tell the member for Trinity Maloney, the prices of these townhouses are $950,000 for the inner units and 1.1 for the outer units. We have not changed the price of those townhouses, member for Trinity Maloney. So whoever told you that information downstairs in HEC, they're setting you up. They're setting you up, Trinity Maloney. They are setting you up. They are setting you up. Do not listen to what is going on in HEC. They are giving you the wrong information, member. I feel sorry for you here today. I feel sorry for you here today. So that the information you have is totally erroneous, whoever gave you that information. So I put it on Hansard here. The prices are still $950 for the inner units and 1.1 for the outer units.
53(1)(a), 53(1)(e). The minister continues to put his contribution forward, and the member for Trinity will not allow him to put his contribution